Hello, welcome to the James Cooley Show. It's your life. I'm your host, Dr. James J.C. Cooley. I am so excited about today's show. I mean, it's going to be wonderful because what we're doing today is that we all love the Lord. And so I got a great man of God that's going to come on the show. You probably seen him a couple of times. He's been on the show before. But we also in loving the Lord and doing the things under God's kingdom, we also have to learn how to manage our resources and create resources. God didn't tell us that we should not make money, we should not do this, but He also wanted us to always be able to provide for yourself and also be able to provide for others. So in order to do that, it goes through a learning period. And we're going to learn a little bit about both of those today. And so we got an absolutely wealth management strategist, absolutely expert. Her name is Christy, Crump. And I tell you, I want everybody to sit back, grab you about 5 or 6 bags of popcorn because you're getting ready to learn some things here because it's your life. And if you want to be part of the conversation, all you have to do is go to whichever platform you're watching it on, E360 TV, YouTube, LinkedIn, Twitter, over 25 other live streaming networks, and you can join in on the conversation by asking questions. And I promise you, I get it on the screen. So uh, Dr. Michelle Cooley is not going to be with us today, but that's okay. I'm doing double duties. The title of the show today is Kingdom Living in Wealth Development. And the purpose of the show is to getting to know founder and CEO World Trumpet, a radio television network, Dr. Mike Kingsley, one of my most favorite people in the world, and philanthropist, mental wealth strategist, and credit expert, Christy Crump. I'm just said that's a mouthful right there. Also discussed what's driving our communities when it comes to poverty, why kingdom leaders are becoming the vehicles to drive out poverty. We need that in all our community. Discuss bridging the gap between the rich and the poor, and also discuss the negativity of wealth in our society. So I tell you, I can't wait to get started with this. So let me introduce you to, first of all, Dr. Bishop Mike Kingsley. My man, how you doing, sir?
I am delighted to be back again. Thank you for the honors for me to be with you, sir. I look forward to what this show is going to be about as we, unpack it with so much good, and thank you for having us.
Oh yeah, so I'm tell you a little bit about Doc. I just mentioned a couple of things. Second, he's the founder and president of World Trumpet Television and Radio Network, based in North America, uh, and also in Africa and in other countries, of like I think 181 countries.
Right.
So with the viewing capability of 181 countries. The urgent global mission of World Trumpet TV is to reach unbelievers around the world with faith-based, family-oriented programming that is evangelist, life-changing in humanity and the mission field. But he's going to tell us a little bit more about that one. Let me introduce my other guest. This young lady right here is doing some great things, and she is a financial expert, a wealth expert. Her name is Christy Crump. Christy is a versatile and accomplished CEO with over 20 years of experience successfully occupying an executive seat with Fortune 500 companies within her years of service with corporate America. She has proven ability to set efficiently strategy, influence, change management, and growth in large organizations. She is the CEO and founder of Premier Capital Group, Infant Infinity Staffing, this organization called Youth Urban Professionals, My $1 Million Boss, wow, Women of War, and so many more. But I tell you, I can't do them any justice. We're gonna let them both tell us a little bit more about them. So, first of all, let's start with you, Doc. Can you refresh our viewers and our listeners on a lot of the great things that you have been doing, and it's just who you are?
Well, again, delighted to be with you on the show here. Um, it's an honor to be with you, Doc. I get to see the many guests that you bring on here that kind of able to bring strategic truths that the kind of world we're living in right now needs. And I get to be part of most of those initiatives that would serve our people and serve our community and the world at large in order to see uh, total transformation. And you and I have talked about this, for a long time. Whenever we get here, it's the mission is people, and if the mission is people, we want to make sure that we see them, at their best. When Jesus came, his mission statement, he said that what the word said, I came to destroy the works of the evil one. In other words, if I can get the evil one out of the system and rout him out of the place, I'll realign people back into their kingdom order. And so what happened is that soon as he showed up, he went about people. First of all, the word of God tells us that he so loved the world that God so loved the world that he gave his only begotten son, that whosoever believes. And a lot of times we interpret that for only just the belief system of our heart, but it's also the welfare of our being on the face of the earth while we are still here. For the most part, Doc, we preach the gospel, preparing people to go to heaven, and yet God said, "Pray that the kingdom of God comes here." What type of the kingdom? The fullness and the sphere of everything that pertains to it, because He told us to occupy while we are here. So the message is not only just preparing people to go there, but prepare people how to live and succeed in the earth realm. And I've seen that pattern out of my very journey that I've traveled, is to believe God that we can be able to occupy here. We don't have to worry too much about going there because He's already been prepared for us. But our way of life succeeds here, in business, in culture, in education, in finance, in every step of the way. And so anytime this type of conversation comes up, I'm excited for me to just jump on it. And that's one of the reasons when I saw the work that Christy's doing, I'm like, oh, Christy has to be part of us. Be part of what this is all about, because she does so much to unite and bring people together and bring them, to be able to wish somebody to do the best. You have the best tools with you, and say, no, I'm going to share them with others so they can all succeed and be better people. And when we win together, man, the community, the kind of world we live in that's full of evil is transformed. And so thank you for having us for us to dialogue and continue to talk about this.
Wow. Hey, Chris, can you tell our viewers and listeners a little bit about you? And I'm excited. I'm just letting you know I'm excited. So
Yes, absolutely. So, my name is Christy Crump, everybody. I am the CEO and founder of Premier Capital Group. I'm originally from Yazoo City, Mississippi, which is probably about 45 miles from Jackson, Mississippi. I've been out here in Dallas, Texas for many, many years. I've lived here. I've went to college here, graduated here, and started a family here. So, I am super excited of what this show has to in store today. Just what Mike was just speaking about earlier. This is the season and the hour that we not only have to gird ourselves up in our belief system, but also understand financial literacy when it comes to the kingdom, when it comes to your personal life. When we say live in abundance, it's living in abundance throughout every measure of your life, every aspect of your life. Not just as we call it, living just from day to day, but we don't just wait until we arrive in the heavens to receive the overflow. The overflow is supposed to be taken in this earth realm. So my team and I, that's what we do for the community, is that we help our people to thrive while we're here on earth.
wow. Yeah. That's yeah, we got to help our people to strive, and the only way we can help them is by educating them. But
Absolutely.
Chrissy, you know just as well as I do that we have to find our people that want
That's
to
key.
that want to get the education, want to get the
Yeah.
understanding how you strive on earth and how you go about accumulating wealth.
Mhm.
And because the more that you're able to accumulate, the more you're able to give back.
Absolutely.
And,
Absolutely.
and that's the key. So, hey, Doc Kingsley,
Yeah.
you came up with the title Kingdom Living and Wealth Development. Can you tell our viewers and listeners what exactly does that mean?
Well, the world has been designed. God created us and gave us. Let me begin with the genesis of what I talk about kingdom creation. You know, the Bible tells us in Genesis how God created there. He found it was void, and he started to create structures of what would make us be the stewards of it. And when you look at God's design, when you go in the backdrop and look at God's design of what He has in mind, when He places everything where it is in the universe, just like you buy a new house and you start to design where you want everything to be, and you're designing it based on your heart to say, I want this to be here. I want the chairs to look like this, the color, the contrast of everything. And you're happy that after all that's been designed, it's been placed where you want it to be. I look at the planet. God placed everything beautiful in it the way He wants it. And then He said, let me place man in it and give him stewardship over it. He gave man power. And so He designed it according to Him. That was pre-fall. That's pre-sin. I see that beauty of what God had in mind for we humans. And I said, why don't we go back to that design of how God desires man to govern and run God's way? So kingdom living is actually living and doing what the way how God has designed it to be. That's pre all these chaoses that we go through, all the ups and downs that we go through. Because when we see His design and the way He does it and the way He wants it, then we begin to worry less about all these mundanes of things that come our way, because we understand that Satan, even for him to come in and disrupt all that, was to take us away from the design, the original design of what He wants. So when we're not living according to God's design, we're not in the kingdom alignment of what He wants. So to answer that question, Doc, is to bring this understanding that before we even try to toil in our own power, which that's not what God intended. The enemy intended that we toil through our own way and go through all of this, trial and tribulation that's actually still creating the world. The world's still in chaos right now, trying to figure out how we should live. So I come in here and I start to say, why don't we try it God's way, God's design? And in order to understand it perfectly, you have to go back to His Genesis and look at the blueprint of how He lays it and how He places together. And then when you see that pattern, the pattern of what He desires is that you govern rightly, you walk rightly, you live healthy and live in abundance, unlimited, all power. And not only just for you, but you can also be a blessing to others. You have to understand, when the enemy disrupted that design, what happened? We started to fight for things. We started to compete against one another. Cain and Abel, all of them had different aspects of their job descriptions, and one of them saw the other, feeling that he has gotten favor before God, and Cain killed his brother. The battle for stuff started. The competition, the fear that I'm never going to make it. Why are other people better than me? The question is not why they're better than you. The question is, do you receive the pattern and design and the purpose that God has placed on the inside of you in order for you to walk in the realm of abundance that God has placed already in the earth realm? The rule and the power that governs that is already released in the earth realm for us to occupy and be fruitful. You're muted.
My fault. I said, I tell you what, just hold that thought. We got to take a station break. But when we come back, we're going to talk to Christy and we're going to talk to Doc. Remember, it's your life. We'll see you shortly after the break.
I never wanna leave. Yeah, I'm right where I wanna be. We got something you and me, and I can't get rid of this feeling. Just like a magnet, we're just like a magnet. The things we have can be taken for granted. Now I know that it has always been you. I can't help it, I'm so drawn to
Hello, welcome back to the James Cooley Show. It's your life, and we got these two absolutely wonderful guests here that's here to educate us and lead and guide us on a lot of different things. And tell you, if you want to be part of this conversation, go to the comments and ask any questions that you might have of them. Christy, how do we pivot and unlearn bad financial habits?
That's good. So, gosh, this is a topic right here. So I'll just say, so it starts with the mindset. So with the mindset of a lot of Americans in this day and hour, our mindsets are different when it comes to financial literacy, when it comes to what wealth stability looks like. So it starts from youth, right? And I can speak for me personally, growing up as a young girl in Yazoo City, Mississippi. I grew up in a single family home. My mom raised three girls. I managed three jobs of her own just to, have a decent life for us. And we wasn't taught financial literacy as children growing up. So this is something that I understood as I gotten older in age and just going through life period. So with that knowledge being absent from the household, growing up, it was a struggle for me, even as I exited from high school into college. It was a struggle because no one had taught me financial literacy. No one has taught me how to budget, how to save some for later, right? So for me, growing up, it was hard. It was difficult. So even when I got into corporate America, and I started landing positions in corporate America as an executive, and I worked for CFOs at a point in time and became controller and et cetera. Then the pieces started to click, and so. The only way for our society now to pivot from going from poor to financial stability is the mindset. And I say the mindset because about 87% of Americans have the wrong mindset when it comes to financial literacy. A lot of people don't understand, and I tell our clients this all the time at Premier Capital Group, sometimes you have to pay to get to where you're trying to go. And what I mean by that is we have people that has, we don't call them poor credit. We just say challenge credit, right? So they have challenge credit, and a lot of them have grown up with the mindset that I had, as a young Black woman, that we call it rob Peter to pay Paul. So you pay bills according to how they come, and then you find out how to get the financials to pay for that particular bill when it gets there. And so I had to break that mindset and break that cycle from off of my life, off of my siblings' life, off of my son's life, and actually tap into, as Dr. Mike was saying earlier, what kingdom wealth looks like in reality. The Bible says that the wealth of the wicked is laid up for us. So what does that look like for the kingdom when it comes to financial wealth? It starts off with the mindset. We have to change our gear of how we think about money, how we process wealth, what we think wealth looks like. And a lot of people think that wealth is the houses, the cars, the land. That's a piece of it, but that's not wealth. Wealth is consistent residuals. And we can talk about later in the show, if possible, of how we can get to those residuals and not having to wait as we normally would do from a 9-to-5 job, waiting for a paycheck every Friday just to sustain what life throws at us. So that's one of the tactics that we mention to our clients when they come in for credit restoration is changing their mindset of how they use money and what their thoughts of about wealth and financial literacy.
Yeah, so what are some of the practices when it comes to uh, financial stability? And I'm talking about other things that people could, you already mentioned a mindset, but do and just refocus on how they should start the process.
Yeah, so it really comes about budgeting. And that's one of the programs that we teach our consumers once they come in for credit restoration is about budgeting. About 73% of Americans overspend budget every month. People purchase things and buy things because of popularity, not that it's a necessity. So this is why a lot of Americans are below scores and have low FICO scores when it comes to their personal life, because they fail to strategically budget. And a lot of people are over budget. And what I mean about over budget is that uh, most people, and I'll say normal US citizens, will literally max out their whole year's salary. Like they will max out their whole year's salary, meaning that by the time they finish throughout the year, they literally have nothing. They're waiting on tax return for them to be able to splurge again.
Oh, and you're absolutely right about that. Hey Doc, now yesterday you and I was talking, and you had mentioned something about the $44 trillion wealth transfer.
Yeah.
Can you explain that to our viewers and our listeners?
The first thing you tell, I love what Christy has, spoken about to really open the minds of our viewers, the understanding of money, the most valuable tool on the planet, that people would need and have wisdom, because the playing field that we're in right now, especially in the financial arena, needs to gather all of the information, the education. At first, the first wealth actually is the education and the knowledge and understanding of the systems where we're. Why am I saying that? Because those who have been in this field for ages, who have created all of these standards or systems that govern who gets rich, the 1%, and the rest of the 99, understand why it's there. You have to control who comes into this gap of wealth and those who control, because you need the consumer and demand and circulation. And so basically, when those systems are playing around one another, or they're cross-pollinating one another, there's a abundance of wealth that's created. And for every season, at every time of the millennium, there has been people who have become rich. In this 20th century, the 20th century created so much wealth that brought in the Walmarts and them, and brought in all of the Amazons and them. Now we've moved into a digital age, and the digital age has made so many people millionaires. You could, by statistics, you could go there, and by doing so, it is left over 41 money that's not yet trapped, that's not yet being captured, or even people are not even aware. There's almost $41 trillion that's available today. The fastest, greatest wealth transfer is taking place in our day to day. That's why today it's easy for you to hear the B word, meaning billions that are going to overseas, or going this way, going that way. We used to hear millions way back when, and you're like, man, when will I ever get to a million? That was a shocker. Now that's nothing. A million is nothing. Now it's the bees that are all everywhere. And whenever you hear that amount of money going in, it's influence and power. So how do we get people to understand that that's very crucial for our time? I was having a conversation even yesterday, and a gentleman said to me, he said, hey, when you bring together a rich man and a poor man in the same room, the poor man has all the truth. When he stands up, he has all the truth, and the rich man has all the lies. Who are they going to choose to listen to? They're going to listen to the rich guy, because that psychology has already been reversed. I have so much truth. I have so much understanding. I know stuff, but I don't have enough money. And people are going to choose the one who stands. And we've seen it out in our day. This is just recently. We've been seeing people fond about themselves with billions of dollars who literally tell lies, and millions of people believe in it. Total lies on national television. You know, how do we change? How do we change that status quo today? You know, to bring our people to the understanding that money is power, and everybody's got access. Has got has to have the knowledge and the power to access it right now. You know, the one thing that we talked about with my friend yesterday is that we have to bring, which is the same thing that Christy just said, we have to deconstruct the mindset that money is evil, even though we know the cup of it says that the root of all evil is what? You know, is money. We have to deconstruct that mindset, you know, that money is evil. How, if anybody ever told you that money is bad, it's got a problem. How do you solve problems without it? If drug dealers and cartels right next in Mexico right now understand, you know what they do? They sell so much drugs and they give to the Catholic Church so that God may give them favor. Imagine, these are drug cartels who wake up in the morning and say, we're going to tithe some of what we've gotten and give it away to the Catholic Church, because they still have a little bit of light, spiritual light in them, in their deceptive ways. And I'm like, where are the righteous men and women who can understand the power of wealth in our hands and what it can do to transform people, God?
Wow. No, you are so true. You're so true. We're going to take a station break. We're going to come back and we're going to continue this great conversation. So if you want to be part of the conversation, all you do is go to wherever mechanism you're watching this on or listening to it. Just ask a question. It's Your Life. I'm Dr. James J.C. Cooley. We'll be back shortly after the break. Welcome back to the James Cooley Show. It's Your Life. And Dr. Mike was on the road. He was on the road during that last segment, and he's going to continue to stay on the road. So Christy, so what is financial freedom and financial wealth? You talked a little bit about that a few minutes ago, but they are two different things. Can you explain that to our viewers and our listeners?
Absolutely. So financial freedom is basically being able to do what you want to do and not having to be restricted to funds, not being able to have access to funds. That's kind of what financial freedom is being able to tap into resources that would allow you to be financially free, meaning that you're not, as we would say, going from paycheck to paycheck, being able to have that savings account or that transfer, that's sitting there for when you need it the most. And then, so as far as financial wealth, it's kind of what I was speaking about previously, is having those residual incomes coming in, where you're not just really basing yourself off of just one income, but there's a residual income that's coming in that's keeping you thriving, keeping you growing. So whether it's in real estate, whether it's multiple businesses, whatever that looks like, whether it's purchasing land to be able to build upon, those are consistent revenues, consistent residuals that you can bring in every month. So being able to, like now, a lot of people are doing Airbnb. Airbnb is a residual because it's consistent money that's coming in, and you really don't have to work a 9-to-5 job. That's what wealth looks like, is being able to comfortably enjoy life, relax, and not having to worry about any financial situation.
So Christy, what are some of the most common mistakes of the American family household when it comes to finances? First of all, you mentioned lack of budgeting, but can you
Yes.
tell our viewers and listeners some more?
Yes. So yes, like a budget is one. And that also comes with the overspending, right? And then it also comes with, as I was mentioning before, just the mindset, because a lot of people don't know what that looks like to be financially free. So they do what they was trained and taught to do. So like prime example, like now, so we're going into a lot of the high schools, and we're teaching high school students about financial literacy. So when they be able to exit high school and going into college, they have a more clear understanding what a FICO score is, how to manage credit cards, what student loans look like, and etc. So that way, when they get further along in life, they won't make the decisions that their father made, their mother made, their grandparents made. They'll have a little bit more background of financial literacy that will prevent them from making those same mistakes that mom and pops made prior to them learning. Because that's what I found out with Premier Capital Group, is that a lot of Americans are struggling financially is for the simple fact that they didn't have the training that we issue out now to people. So being able to make sure that you are stand on top of your FICO scores. And I tell people this all the time, like even myself, I don't care what your FICO score looks like. You can have the perfect FICO score. I'll just share a little bit of my experience. I had a daughter back in 2007 who passed away from cancer. And so even though we took care, she had insurance, we took care of medical expenses, et cetera, because they had my social security number, because I was her mother, a lot of her chemo, because she was diagnosed with cancer, a lot of her chemo was placed on my personal credit profile almost 7 years after she passed away. So I always tell people, you can have an 850 and be the perfect score ever. But I always tell them to make sure that you check your FICO score at least once a month, And then there's tools that you can log into, which is annualcreditreport.com, that would give every consumer that has a social security number a free credit report every year. And I always tell our customers, make sure that you have some sort of credit monitoring system that would notify you when there's derogatory items that hit your credit report, when there's positive things that hit your credit report. And you can get that from like Identity IQ, Smart Choice. There's a lot of companies that you can use that would give you those monthly updates. So that way you always on top of your financial profile, and you know exactly what's going on.
Wow. You just brought up a point that I did not even know. 7 years later, they are still tracking that, and they can. And that's a good point with telling folks how they can track their FICO score, because that's important. That's probably one of the most important things that, well, as far as line of credit that we have.
Mm-hmm.
So, hey Doc, how can our world leaders or leaders, put their mind together, get rid of the greed, and create programs to help our youth and young adults because they're going to be our future leaders of tomorrow.
Yes. No, very good question. I would like to start by already looking at the state of the kind of world we live in right now. The state of the world is so broken in its structure because it's already has a levering. The playing field is not even. It's not favorable to where we're headed. The rich continue to be rich. The gap, the middle class, especially in the Western world right now, has begun to shrink because it's easy psychologically to control people who don't have much. When you have so many people who have a lot of wealth, you know, it's hard to control them because they will have more power, they will have leverage, they will lobby about their ideas. And for the most part, we've been able to see how that nasty it gets because when you have so many, let me say, so many chips in the pan, those who are supposed to be having their pie would not have it. And we're seeing how nasty in the political arena that's happening, even though we hear them stand on the podiums talking about people's issues, fixing their, credit or, debt consolidation or forgiveness. All these things, good, nice words we would like to hear, that you think they're going to do that. They don't because all of that behind it is a catch. It's money driven. So how do we, how are we going to help our young people today to become, effective, uh, minded, uh, prosperous, prosperous generation? Again, it goes back to what Christy has been emphasizing. It's education because the resources are already there, but when the education has been limited, you know, when people don't know that how many channels of wealth have already been created, how many opportunities are right in my city, or what do I need to know? Because you have to understand that in our culture right now, every industry changes every 1 to 2 years. That's why today you used to go to Walmart and see a lot of workers there, or you used to go to the airports and find people on the tolls. But right now you find the machines are taking over. You know, the machines are taking over. Walmart is being taken over by the pay, and we like those ideas, we like those technologies, but we don't know that the people that used to work in those places are being thrown off. And if those people don't prepare themselves for the new jobs of the digital world right now, for the next 2 years, 3 years, they literally have been capped. That's why you're seeing our streets are piling up with homelessness. Our streets are piling up with broken people who are just one step away. The poverty line is increasing. And you don't get to hear any solutions that are on the table except politics. And the more you hear politics connected to money, you just know that politics is going to create more poverty, not more wealth. Even though you hear the word that says, we're going to create more jobs, more this, more that, but most industries are being wiped out to keep people away into the places where they could have livelihoods, families. That's why you're seeing broken societies, broken cities. Why? Because there's more poverty. And remember, poverty is a business. In order to get more wealth, you have to create more poverty. For somebody's idea, I gotta say this, Doc, for somebody's idea understands that, for instance, everybody that's delinquent on their debt, who have not paid their debt, Christy will tell you, there's somebody that's ready to buy that debt and resell it somewhere else for money. That's why people take years to fix their credit, because when somebody else, the third party, buys that debt and takes it over, you have to go through 9 people or 2 entities to make sure you recover it. And so, when debt is the major thing, if debt is money, when will poverty get out of people's lives?
Wow. You absolutely, and that's how the wealth is getting wealthier, and that's how they keep many of us poor. We're gonna take a station break, but we're gonna come back. We're gonna dive off into that. And Christy, I got you coming up when we get back because I want you to tell our listeners, our viewers, how the wealthy, in many cases, are robbing our youth and young adults. We're gonna take a station break. We're gonna come back. We got a lot more of this great conversation. It's your life. I'm Dr. James J.C. Cooley. We'll be back shortly after the break.
Really get a chance to know who you are. And once you know who you are, you truly know who you are, love who you are. Love who you are. You're a masterpiece. Love who you are. Love who you were born to be. Love me some me. That's what I'm talking about. When you leave high school, you gotta know today or tomorrow, or hopefully today, what your plans are. Hopefully, there is no bad decision unless there is no plan. Create, collaborate, commit with confidence. Commit with what? Commit with what? In everything that you do.
Noah Dingley here, producer of The James Cooley Show, It's Your Life. And the new audio version of James' book, Country Boy, City Boy, A Journey That Ain't Over Yet, is a must-have. James shares his true life story of struggle and success in America. It's both a cautionary tale and a roadmap to achieving the American dream. Get the new audio version of Country Boy, City Boy, A Journey That Ain't Over Yet by James Cooley on Amazon.com or wherever audiobooks are sold.
Welcome back to It's Your Life. I'm Dr. James J.C. Cooley. I got two great guests here, Dr. Mike Kingsley, and we got Christy, Crump. And I told you, you probably don't have anything left in your bags of popcorn because I told you you're going to sit back and learn. It's not the movies. This is live. This is real. So I'll sit back and continue to get this education that these two absolutely fantastic guests are putting out. Christy, how have our leaders of today robbed our children, youth, and young adults? I'm talking about the ones that's going to be leading the world. How is today kind of making that transition or going to make that transition harder?
This is a conversation that we have a lot in our high schools. Because our youth now is saying that they don't have any leaders, such as myself, you, Dr. Mike, that is out in the fields and that's willing to work with the youth and giving them the necessary tools that they need to succeed in this thing that we call life. Unfortunately, sad to say, a lot of our leaders have failed our youth because we teach them the basics. And when I say the basics, I'm meaning we teach them reading, writing, the basic math, social studies, that type of thing, especially in our educational system. And so we do what the minimum requires for our children to graduate. In order for them to get the necessary credits that they need. But no one comes in like we're doing now into the system of schools and implementing structure when it comes to what exiting high school looks like into exiting into the real world. So we have failed our youth tremendously. And I can even say that because my youngest nephew is now 24 years old. And when he became a high school graduate, I was talking to a lot of his peers, and I wanted to kind of pick their minds to figure out where they think they were going after they exit high school. Because typically, we tell our kids, you're going to exit high school, you're going to go to college, you're going to do this, you're going to do that. we prepare that roadmap for them, but we don't prepare them what it looks like financially to exit high school. So a lot of kids get into college if they don't have grants and scholarships and things like that. They get into college, they have student loans that they have to pay for. And they figure out when they begin to get into the real world, America, they have student debts that's more than their salary. And so when they start to have these debts in their mindset, because they wasn't taught financial literacy and what debt looks like and how to execute, from having debt, they go into the typical mindset of their parents and their fathers. Well, you don't have to use your credit right now. You just in your early 20s, you're not purchasing a home right now. So there's no need for you to get a car. There's no need for you to get a house. There's no need for you to do whatever, as long as you can get the basics, which is open up a checking account and go get a 9-to-5 job, right? So this is how we have failed how the system has failed our youth, is because we fail to impart into them the wisdom, the knowledge, the education that they need for when they get ready to exit high school. So that's why I created the organization that's called YEP, which is Young Urban Professionals. And this is where we get a group of urban children and we teach them financial literacy. Like now we have some kids that are getting ready, when they exit this school year, they're going into college. And so we're walking them through, and even some of the ones now that desires to be in corporate America, because a lot of myself and my team were previously in corporate America, and we were in executive levels. So we use our expertise and what God has allowed us to tap into in our careers, and we help them get the necessary tools that they need to be successful Black people in our community. And this is where we failed at, is because we failed to take what we knew and what we know and impart it into our youth for them to grow and grow our community for what's to come.
Wow. Let's talk a little bit about the Premier Capital Group. Can you tell our viewers and listeners exactly what that is and what are some of the initiatives that you have going on?
Yeah, so Premier Capital Group, we are a financial institute, and we help Americans that has consumer credit challenges, meaning your credit scores. We assist them with getting their credit scores up, getting items deleted, getting things repaired. Sometimes people have low credit scores because they literally have been purchasing things by cash and they don't utilize their credit at all. So not only do we assist them with getting items removed to increase their credit score, but we also give them financial literacy and education on, there's consumer laws out here. So there is, oh my gosh, tons of laws that the FDCPA has set aside for consumers that can help them when it comes to credit restoration. So we educate them on what that looks like for them and what their consumer rights are as a consumer, because a lot of people don't understand there's a lot of things on your credit profile that's not even legally accepted according to the law. So we utilize some of the law tactics to get some of our clients' items removed. So Premier Capital Group, we do consumer credit restoration. We also have business credit development. So if there's a small business owner that's looking to obtain capital to grow and scale your company, we also assist and have programs to assist in that arena. We also help nonprofit organizations such as churches and things like that to be able to obtain capital as well to grow our community. We also have investors that we assist with flip rehab properties to be able to grow our community and have our community to look like what it should look like.
Wow. Hey, I want to get back to Dr. Kingsley, because we have this what we call Bitcoin, this electronic currency, and all of this stuff going on. Do you think our communities and our society is ready for this, Doc?
That's a huge question you threw out. In a sense that, again, at a given time in the history of the economic where we're headed right now, But the first question was, I have to study the entire system. I have to study, why is it here? Why are we jumping on crypto? And at the time right now, they're cracking on it. My first negative aspect to it is that they're cracking on it and, beginning to kind of give it a different effect. In a sense, that's why I said before, the powers that be, or the systems that be, are creating all of these systems in place to make sure that more money is accumulated. The more money is put out in society, is the more money that's put out. So once we once we begin to study why these systems come at the given time, especially in the digital world where we are, because we literally have entered into a digital currency. And once you enter into digital currency, you don't have so many. The playing field is squeezed in. It's not many people that are going to play in it. Once that is created, we go into what at the time called the digital dictatorship. That's why we're giving away all our money and putting into a funnel. And right after it's all finished, we're going to be controlled in one system. The question is, do we have other ideals? Do we have ideas and strategies that can be able to allow our people, to create wealth outside of these norms that have already been said for us? That actually just recently, if you remember, maybe three weeks ago, one of the creators of the digital systems was arrested out in Mexico, if I remember so well. And this is one of the guys that was one of the founders of the Bitcoins. And he just did a bail. His bail was $200 million, not to go anywhere. He's got access, but he's taken away from a lot of people. Just when it's so exciting, the vultures come and take it away. My question would be, what systems do we have in place in order to see our people still succeeding and becoming prosperous right now? So I have a different view about it, even though some people will give me such a joy about what the wealth is creating for people. But we've seen a lot of systems that are coming into place, if I can be honest, that were there 5 years and were succeeding 5 years, but all of them came to take away and they left people hungry. What sustainable system do we have in place that can create long-lasting wealth for our people? I want to see that. And when I started, I said to say, when we go back to God's design of what He intended in the first place, guess what? We break away from all of these corrupt systems that have been created, because everybody wants to win, but some people want to win the wrong way. They want to win the wrong way. They want to make sure they take from some so that they can benefit, themselves. But that doesn't mean the power and wisdom for us to, there was a Joseph. Once upon a time, there was a Joseph. And Joseph was placed into a very crisis. And God gave him wisdom to manage the wealth of a secular system.
And that's what wisdom is what we need. We're down to the last minute of the show. And I wanted to, we got to do this again. This is so fun, so much fun, so much education. Real quickly, Christy, if someone wanted to get in touch with you and reach you and, for your services, how could they do that?
Yep, they can visit us at My Premier Capital Group. And then they can go to our contact page to reach us there, or either they can call us at 1-800-476-0360.
What
about you, Doc? If they want to reach out to you and get in touch with you, how could they get in touch with you?
Yes, they can reach us through World Trumpet TV, and we have the information on there. I think that's the best way for them to reach us.
Or Trump. I tell you what, we got to do this again, because there's so much information that we did not cover. And this is so educational. So I'd like to thank both of you all for taking time to come on the James Cooley Show. It's Your Life. I'd like to thank Dr. Michelle Cooley for putting together another great show. Most importantly, I'd like to thank my viewers and listeners out there for tuning in to the James Cooley Show. It's Your Life. I want everybody to have a wonderful, wonderful weekend. And remember, just like what Dr. E just put down, God's plan is for us. It's your life. Have a wonderful, wonderful weekend. We'll see you next week. Same time, same place. It's your life.
Thank you.